Hello everybody, it's dumplet here. Here's an item on probability. In 5 flips of a coin that lands heads up 1/3 of the time, find the probability that 2 of the 5 flips ends up being heads. As usual, pause this video if you'd like to give this item a try, but if you're done, let us dive into the solution. Now, in the previous video, I'll link it above here, I discussed about a very classic binomial distribution item. Now, in this case, everything's the same except that the coin is rigged. It has it has an uneven probability of heads and tails. So that's the only difference. And we're gonna see how this works. Now, we have 5 flips instead of 6, and we still have 2 heads. So we will still expect 2 heads and then 5 minus 2, which is 3 tails. Alright, so the first step remains the same. We want to find the number of ways to arrange heads and tails. So we have 2 heads and then 3 tails. Since this is just a permutation, permuting elements with repeated elements here, so we have 5 factorial divided by, we have 2 heads, so 2 factorial, and we have 3 tails, so 3 factorial, and we know we can write this as a 5 choose number of heads, so 5 choose 2, or we can write this as 5 choose the number of tails, or 5 choose 3 over here. So that's the first step. We have this equals that. We can use any of those. For demonstration purposes, let me use 5 choose 2. Now we convert these into the respective probabilities. Since we know heads have a probability of 1/3, it makes sense for us to say that the other side, tails, would have a probability of 2/3. So we convert H and T's to 1/3 and 2/3 respectively. Now take note, we have the factor 5 choose 2. So we can use 5 choose 2 or 5 choose 3, doesn't really matter. And we have these 5 probabilities. We know that there are 2 heads, so we have 2 heads, so 1/3 raised to 2 over here. And then to account for the 3 tails, we have 2/3 raised to the 3rd power. Now let's read this again. This tells us the number of ways to arrange heads and tails. This tells us the probability of the 2 heads, and this tells us the probability of the 3 tails. The last thing that we have to do is very simple, just multiply everything out. We have this, so 5 choose 2, this equals 10. And then the 1/3, that gives us 1/8. So the 1/3 squared, that gives us 1 over 3 squared. The 2/3 cubed give us 2 cubed over 3 cubed. Now you can write 2 cubed over 3 cubed as 8 over 3 cubed. So these two together gives us 8 over 243, 8 over 3 to the 5th. And we have 10 times 8 over 243, and it simplifies to 80 over 243. So this is just another example of a classic binomial distribution item. The only difference is that I made the coin rig this time. So the process is still the same, everything's still the same. Just make sure that you write down the correct stuff and the correct probabilities, and whatever we do, we're going to end up with the correct answer. So hopefully you guys learned something from this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!